It's been a long time since you saw this face. I'm still alive. I'm still a human being of the male variety. I haven't vanished off the scene. It may appear that way. Some of you that don't follow me on Twitter or haven't watched the last few videos of mine may have thought I've just died because Regen Rovers just stopped back in June, didn't it? And I think I owe an explanation, but I also owe you one more video. Plus, a lot of you have been asking about the save file. I think I owe you that as well, especially as I did vanish off the scene at the end of episode 140. At the end of our, was it 10th season at the club? I've completely forgotten. It's bad because not everything's been erased from my memory of this save. This is the save and the series I'm most proud of on Football Manager, on my YouTube channel. It really was a marvellous, magnificent story. And for it to end that way, it's a bit of a shame, but the reason why it ended that way, I basically woke up one morning and I wasn't motivated to play Football Manager. I opened the save and I was meant to pick the England squad, I think. Yeah, the England squad for the World Cup. And I just couldn't force myself to do it. Those of you that have played Football Manager for many years will know sometimes you just completely fall out of love with a save or even with the game for short or long periods of time, and whatever you do, you can't motivate yourself to play. It's just one of those things. You need a break sometimes from Football Manager, and that's what I needed. And then I moved house. We bought our first ever house. That was incredibly exciting, of course, but a massive upheaval in our lives, and that overtook everything, and I couldn't even think about YouTube, Football Manager, any of that. It was all about the house, moving home, moving all our things, sorting out the house over the first few weeks. And then I finally was motivated to play Football Manager, but it was the West Ham save. So I uploaded 3 episodes of that. I've uploaded 1 introduction video to FM18, but I'm really pumped now for Football Manager 2018. And it's quite scary, really, that the first ever video I made on this channel was with Football Manager 2012, back at the end of my second year of university. And now I'm about to turn 26 on Saturday, in fact, and Football Manager 2018 is here. There's been, from the start of my YouTube channel to now, it has been an incredible journey, not just for YouTube, but personally. You know, when I first started YouTube, I was single. I was at university. Not long after that, I got together with Jenny, who eventually became my wife, of course. Pretty soon, not really. It was such a quick journey. But yeah, I've got married. I've bought a house. And now I'm about to be 26, which is very young to own a house and also be married, of course. I'm so blessed, so lucky to be in this situation. But just thinking about, I'm just blabbering here as I usually do, but just thinking about that journey from the start of my YouTube story to now, it really has been an incredible few years. And I'm still going, and I'm still very excited to make YouTube videos, entertain you guys, inform you guys as well. But I'm still learning. I'm always learning about YouTube. And Regen Rovers save, I've probably learnt the most. It was my favourite save that I've done. The series I've been most proud of. But for it to end like that, I've learned things. I got to episode 140. It started to get a little bit stale, I think, because we got to the promised land of the Premier League, and a lot of you probably, that was it. That was it for you. I know quite a few people commented saying, you've got to the Premier League. That was kind of the aim of the series. It's been completed. I wanted to go further. I wanted to win competitions. We did win the EFL Cup, of course. 3-0 in the final this season. That was an incredible way to end the series, I suppose. But then we did, of course, lose the FA Cup final against Man United, our last ever game on this. As you can see there, a massive 4-1 loss against the mighty Manchester United. We did go 1-0 up, but they just punished us in the end, didn't they? But it was quite a marvellous season. We finished in the Champions League place. So that's why I really did want to continue. Try and play some Champions League football and go on and turn Regen Rovers into the greatest team ever. But by this point, I suppose it had grown a little bit stale. There's still plenty of you interested in this save. Lots of you watching and loving the Regen Rovers story. I'd just released some merchandise, of course, which I think 2 or 3 of you had bought something from that website. But I've learned for the future. This is basically, the end of this series is how I would start a new series. If I did another Regen Rovers type thing where I created a club, we'd have the merchandise within, probably at the end of the first season. I'd have that all ready. And there's quite a few things that I would integrate into the save from the start. So I'm forever learning on YouTube. I'm forever learning in life, but I'm forever learning how to make a better series. And hopefully FM18, we will have some fun. Well, I'll create a few good series. It's not going to be a Regen Rovers thing from the start, that's for sure. I'm not sure I will do any Creator Club series on FM18. There's a possibility, but it's more likely to be FM19. I kind of want a break. To reveal to you guys now, I'm going to do a beta save with Napoli, something a bit different. Most people choose a big English team, me included. That's what we tend to do at the start. Kind of draws in the views, if I'm honest. That's what people search for. But I want to do something different. I want to do a big Italian team in Napoli. I like their style of play, love some of their players. They're a good team to watch, so that's why I'd like to manage them and do something a little bit different. And then after that, I've got a few ideas floating around in my head, but I will reveal those as and when. I'm sure most of you are wondering, is this the end? Is this the end of Regen Rovers? And for now it is. For now it is, but I might come back to this save at some point when I'm bored. Maybe when I'm bored of FM18, I might just come back to Regen Rovers, because it doesn't really matter what game this is on. It's on FM17. I have to release FM18 videos just to keep the channel fresh and keep it going, really. Keep it growing. But because this is on FM17, that's probably why I wouldn't continue this. I'm not motivated to play this again, if I'm honest. It's great to see all this stuff, but I'm not really in the mood to just see all this now. Looking at all the players, it's amazing, really, looking at all of this. But at the same time, I'm not pumped to get to take on the challenge of Regen Rovers again. But at some point, I might be. I might want to come back to this save. However, I have holidayed this game 10 years. You don't have to watch that. I'll put this at the end of the video. I'm going to holiday 10 years into the future. If you don't want if you don't want to see what happens to Regen Rovers in 10 years and you'd rather play the series yourself, so play the save yourself, download the save. It's in the link in the description below. I'm still a bit rusty at this. I haven't done this for ages. I haven't talked in front of a camera for ages. I've done 3 West Ham videos and 1 FM18 introduction video, but that was just my voice. Talking to the camera, a little bit different, still a little bit rusty. This is almost like my practice, to be honest, for FM18. What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Yes, the link is in the description below. So if you want to carry on the story yourself, create memories, maybe you can tweet me over the next few weeks saying, I've managed to win the Champions League with Regen Rovers. Jack Young scored the winner. Of course, you're going to take over me as manager, and we're about to play the World Cup with England. So perhaps you can win the World Cup with Jack Young. That would be unbelievable. There's a few Regen Rovers players in there that you could select for the England squad. The other way to look at it is, this is how it's ended. You don't want anything else to be spoiled. You don't want to see 10 years into the future. You don't want to manage Regen Rovers yourself. You just want this to be the end. We've qualified for the Champions League, and that parallel universe of Regen Rovers has just vanished, basically. It's gone. That's it. That's the end. It's ended on a high. I know we lost the FA Cup final, but on the whole, it has ended on a high. And that's the way you want to remember it. So when I get to the 10 years into the future bit, maybe you'll just want to close the video down at that point. However, I just want to play you a clip. This clip was the most important moment of Football Manager ever for me, because this series wouldn't have existed if it wasn't for this goal. And I think we just have to pay homage to this, because it was an unbelievable moment, probably the most unbelievable moment of Football Manager ever. We did have a couple after that. Jack Young scored a really late goal to get us promoted, didn't he? But this goal saved the series. It saved Regen Rovers. Let's have a look at it. It really was bizarre circumstances. We have half a match to save our season. We're going to exploit the middle then, or quite obviously, because I'm going down the middle. Try something different again. I mean, why do I always try something different? Maybe. What's happened? There's no football. I can't see what's going on. Look. There's no ball. That's really weird. What? What's happening? I don't know. This has made it even more tense for me. There's some sort of weird glitch has happened. Look, he's kicking nothing. Great. Well, this is just brilliant, isn't it? How much worse can this get? Well, I don't know if that was close or not, but either way, it's a goal kick, and it's still 1-0 to Bath. I'm going to have to throw DJ and Dr. Jones up front, aren't I? DJ's going to play as a complete forward. We're going to go route one. I can't see the ball. Sorry about that. There's nothing I can do. Why? Why is this happening to me? Why is nothing happening? Come on, please. Look at this. I'm really going for it now. I don't care. We have to do this. Okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for the final 10 minutes, possibly, of the original Regen Rovers. I can't see the ball. Are we going to perhaps have a last opportunity here? Oh, the ball's back. That was really weird. 15 seconds to go. 15 seconds. Gordon, Sheriff, Mills, Young, DJ. Go! In my freaking days. Dr. Jones. What? This is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. That is the best moment of Football Manager of my life. Ah, the memories. I'm still speechless from that. I can't believe that happened. The ball vanished for a few seconds, came back 15 seconds before the end of the match, before the end of the season. And Dr. Jones, the legend, found the back of the net. He is still here, by the way, at the age of 30 now. One cap for England, of course. I did play him, and he barely played. He's never played a game in the Premier League, in fact. He did play one game in the Championship. He was a hero. He was average for those first 3 seasons that I did actually bother to play him, but he scored the most important goal ever. Jack Young's also 30, by the way. We'll just have a quick look at him. He's 31, in fact. He's now 31 years old. 7 caps for England. Still hasn't managed to score. If you do play this save, continue the save, you have a good opportunity for him to get his first ever goal for England, because I decided to put in 2 friendlies, one against San Marino and one against Bangladesh before the World Cup, which incidentally we've got USA, Nigeria and Portugal in the groups. But if you can score against San Marino and Bangladesh with Jack Young, send me a screenshot. That would be fantastic. Now then, this is your warning. If you don't want to see 10 years into the future of Regen Rovers, bye for now. I hope you come back. Please leave a like just to, I don't know, say thank you for the series. I know it's annoying that I vanished, and I do apologise for that. I really do. But you know what it's like with Football Manager sometimes. You do just sometimes randomly fall out of love. And it was very frustrating, but I think it was meant to be, because I didn't want that distracting me from the whole house thing, and it would have been really hard to juggle both at that point, I think. Anyway, let's holiday 10 years into the future. I tell a lie, I've only holidayed 9 years into the future. Now I don't have the time to holiday 1 more year. So 9 years will have to do, I'm afraid, but that's still pretty good. We've gone 9 seasons. And Regen Rovers are still in the Premier League. They've never finished as high as I managed to get them to finish, 4th. Of course, there's a different guy in charge. At the moment, it's Dominic Ball. We'll have a look to see who else has been in charge of Regen Rovers on this save. I retired my manager from the game entirely. So Paul Holden-Warren, still a legend of the club, as you may see here. Retired just before the World Cup. I don't know what happened to England then. 14 years in charge of Regen Rovers. What a story, eh? And I am still a legend. Jack Young's an icon. He never managed to get to legendary status, but he was an icon. And he retired at the age of 32, 2 years after I retired. So, I don't know whether he played any more games for Regen Rovers. I very much doubt it. He never played another game for England. But what a legend. He is a legend, really, isn't he? He should be on that list of legends, but he's not. Sean Thomas is still at the club. Now, I signed him in my last season at the club, I think. 2029-30 season. So he's still here after his £25 million signing. That was a record signing at the time for Regen Rovers. And the Belgian is still at the club. 38 caps for Belgium. The vice captain, Dan Walker. Now we had a Walker, Reece Walker, back in the day. I don't know if he's related. He's a Nigerian striker. 33 goals in 54 games for Nigeria. He's a bit of a beast, isn't he? Signed back in 2032-33 season from Arsenal. The thing that's really stood out, though, is there's another Young. Damien Young, not Jack Young. Damien Young. what a machine. He looks fit. 18 finishing. He has played for England. He's 27 years old. He's in his prime. Signed from Chelsea for £22 million. Didn't work out for him there. He's done okay, but only 18 goals in 55 games last season. Not the best. But I like the fact that there is another Young. He's not related because Damien Young did come along before Jack Young retired. It was back in 2027-28 that he burst onto the scene. So let's just have a look at the team overall. Are there any other players that we recognise? I kind of doubt there will be. There's Sean Thomas, and that is it at this point. So I think we'll look at the transfers just to see when some of our main players left. Of course, the likes of Jack Young would, if they were still going, they'd be 40 years old by now. So it was very unlikely that there would be any players left. But if we just go back in time to see, in fact, I want to see who has taken over as manager first. So, lots of managers since I left. So I was in charge for 13 years, 330 days. Then I had Mark Tinkler, who we can't see, but he was in charge for almost 6 years before Omar Beckles came in for only 23 days. Oh, that was caretaker manager, so that doesn't count. So only 3 permanent managers since I left. Then Henrik Pedersen came in, the Dane. He managed for 2 years and 262 days. And Omar Beckles once again was the caretaker. He, in fact, is the under-23s assistant manager at Regen Rovers. He came in just as I left, in fact. And then Dominic Ball has taken over recently, who has been manager of a few teams, as you can see, including West Ham. But he has led them to the lowest finish in the Premier League. We'll have a look at the table in a second, but I just want to have a look at the transfer history to see where we're at. So this was the last season that I was in charge. We signed the likes of Sean Thomas, of course, for £25 million, and Kevin Savage. What's happened to him? He's still around. Plays for Seattle now at the age of 29, so it's not quite gone to plan for him, I would say. He does have 44 goals in 84 games for Wales, but he left Regen Rovers £2.4 million, so it never really worked out for him, did it? I was hoping it would. He was a wonder kid at one point, but he's ended up in America. He is quite prolific there, but it's not always a good sign when you end up there, is it? Especially at the age of 29. Or in fact, it was early. It was about 26, wasn't it? Anyway, that was the last season that I had control over transfers. I retired. In came the new manager, who signed someone called Joris Bernard, or Bernard, I suppose, if he's French. He's now a head of youth development because he's 34 years old, so we can actually see what he was like as a player. Ivkovic as well, who's now at Hull City, 31 years old. And we signed a player from Barcelona, Pasquet Marone, an Italian. We did like the Italians by the end of this, didn't we? But we can see we sold Yahya for 725k to Leeds. Danny Bai left on a free. He's now manager of Dorchester Town, of all places. We played them early on in the save, didn't we? 2 caps for England. Pascual left. The Spaniard, he retired after playing for Le Hospitalet in Spain. Nick Austin, backup goalkeeper. He's at Exeter City now at the age of 32. Our Chinese player that briefly played for the team. 159 caps for China. Didn't get into my team. He never played for us, but he's played for 3 different European teams. But 159 caps for China is very impressive. Luca Colonna left, the San Marino striker that I signed. Gerard Finlay finally left the club. Ray Godfrey, a few players there. Lorenzini left on a loan. He did, in fact, go to Greece in 2032, where he had a good time, 50 goals. He retired at the age of 34 last season. Nico Schultz left on loan as well. We liked Nico Schultz. Ended up at Toulouse. Well, look at this. Celtic on loan. Stade Rennais, Leicester, then Toulouse. He's been around a bit, hasn't he? He's now 32 years old, so there's still a couple years left in him. Lawrence Rhodes as well. He went out on loan. What happened to him then? He got 2 caps for England. I gave them to him. He's still... Yeah, he's only 31. He's quite young when we had him, wasn't he? He's ended up in America as well. Interesting. So the next season... Not really going to look at the players coming in because they are kind of irrelevant. But the players going out, we sold Burden. We signed him for £3.6 million and we sold him 2 years later for £4.9 million. I say we because I didn't do this. The game did it. We also sold Ivkovic, the guy that the manager signed it the previous season. So yeah. There's Jack Young retiring on that list. Spencer Drury went out on a free. He retired at the eight. In fact, he retired after he left because he couldn't get another club, I presume. He was pretty prolific for England. 6 goals in 7 games, 116 league goals in 318 games for Regen Rovers. Their all-time top goal scorer for Regen Rovers. I presume that is still the case. We will have a look at the records in a second to see which records still stand after all those years. Patrick Dipper. Oh, what a legend. He's now manager of Burgess Hill. He got 2 caps for England as well. But wow. Yeah, he retired as well after leaving the club. What a legend. Ali, the Nigerian I signed. He did play in Turkey for a few years. Stephen Dean. Went to Brøndby, then to Birmingham City. 58 caps for Northern Ireland. He was a cracking right back for us, wasn't he? Oh, it's bringing back the memories, this. There's a few youngsters here that we signed. Nico Schultz went for £4.1 million in the end. Naganuma, our Japanese player. 148 caps for Japan. And he's 34 years old now. And yeah, went to Hull City, but then moved to Holland for £9 million the season after. Kevin Savage, he went out on loan. But Pigliacelli, the greatest goal scorer in the last season for us. He was phenomenal, wasn't he? He really was. He's now head of youth development at nowhere, but he wants to be head of youth development anyway. But yeah, those last 2 seasons for us when I signed him, 21 goals in that first year, 34 goals in that second year. But then the new manager came in. He wasn't quite so prolific. 19 goals, not bad. But then was left out for that 2031-32 season. 4 goals in all competitions. He was prolific. He went to Deportivo La Coruna, did okay, nothing special. Moved on loan to Brøndby and ended up at Wolfsberger. Great name for a team in Austria. I loved Pigliacelli. What a legend. Season after that then, Nathan Williams left the club. He was a defender that we had. Some of you may remember him. We had him from 2028-29 season, so for a couple years of the save. Played quite well for us actually, but dropped off, especially in that last season. 6.29 average rating. Ended up at Doncaster Rovers in the Championship, who then got relegated. Did get 5 caps for England because I gave them to him. Lorenzini, this is when he left the club. He retired after some time in Greece. In fact, have we already looked at Lorenzini? I don't think so. Legend of the club. I loved him. Great player for a couple of years for us before Pigliacelli came in and stole his crown. Arif Koç, our Turkish goalkeeper. 11 caps for Turkey and then actually plays for Everton. I'm surprised we let him go because he was a good goalkeeper. But you can see he went out on loan to Seattle. Did we loan him out? I feel like maybe we loaned him out. Yeah, I think we did. I did, as in me personally. I loaned him out. I can't remember it. So long ago since I played this properly. But ended up at Everton. I suppose he was a backup goalkeeper by the looks of things. Yeah, a few youngsters leaving. I remember Neil Hayward, Ray Godfrey, Paul Spencer, Spencer Pugh. Paul Kelly, the right winger, the Scottish right winger, got a few caps for Scotland, ended up at Swansea, and then he ended up in France at the end of his career. That's probably... Oh no, Nigel Armstrong. Good old Nigel. He's a scout for Brighton now. Gave 1 cap to him as well. Moved to Dundee before retiring. Is there any other players that I signed? Nadigia Fall, who we had for 2 seasons on the save. He moved to Everton. Well, Celtic, then Everton. Wow, they paid £10 million for him, so he turned out to be alright. 27 caps for Senegal. George Law, we signed him in the last season. England international. He's retired now. In fact, he retired after leaving Regen Rovers. But surely he is the last player to feature, apart from Sean Thomas, of course, who's still at the club. Fuat Kachar, no. Fuat Kachar was still there, amazingly. 6 caps for England. Remember, he came back to us after going to Kilmarnock because he wanted European football. He regretted that, came back to Regen Rovers, didn't really play because he was backup, and in fact he never played in the last few years before retiring. Guess he was just like a third choice goalkeeper or something like that. But it's pretty amazing that he stayed at the club for so long. Sebastian Martinez, we signed him in the last year, really good left back, Argentinian left back, moved to Middlesbrough, then FC Lorient. Oh, this is fascinating, isn't it? This is when they signed Damien Young on a loan fee and then permanently, I suppose, after that. Yeah, £22 million. But yeah, I don't think there's any more old school Regen Rovers players that featured after that point. And that's it, really. So let's have a look at the Premier League table. This was the worst... where am I? The current season was the worst season ever, 16th. But they've done all right. I'm pleasantly surprised that they've managed to stay up. It wasn't just because of me, although it could be because I established them as a good team. When I retired, they're a 4-star reputation team, so they're that reputation to go on. We finished 4th in the in the Premier League to qualify for the Champions League, so we had lots of money to spend. That was the most important thing, I think. So the season after, they only dropped to 7th, finishing with 56 points, minus goal difference, but still 7th place, not bad. 7th, second season in a row. Got much better goal difference that season, plus 15. Then 10th. So this is when it started to go a little bit downhill, but still top 10, not bad. 9th, that's an improvement. It's 9th again. Then 11th, so that's the first season finishing outside the top 10 since I retired. But then back up to 8th. So it's a bit topsy-turvy. We're finishing between 7th to 11th at this stage since I've left. And then 7th again, so maybe a bit of a resurgence. But 16th, what happened there? I don't really know. The new manager didn't work out for him. Was that his second season, I think? Maybe that was his first season. It just didn't really work out for him, which is a real shame. Top goal scorer was Damien Young, but only 18 goals in 57 games effectively. This guy, Edison, looks decent. 34 years old though, but he scored quite a few goals. 12 goals, 12 starts, 24 sub-appearances. Most valuable player is Damien Young. Interesting stuff. Let's just have a look at the club as a whole. So still 4-star youth facilities, reputation and training facilities. They are rich. £352 million Regen Rovers are now worth. They're still playing at the Regen Rovers Stadium, 12,500. That needs to be improved, doesn't it? I suppose theoretically they could get relegated next year. 16th, not looking good. This is when I could come back in and save the club. But I think if I was to continue, I would go back in time to 2030 and just continue from there. Or maybe I could continue from here. But that's talking a few months down the line if I've got bored of FM18. I want to continue with Regen Rovers. Or maybe I should start a new Regen Rovers story, whether it be with the same team, same name, using Create a Club, or using the proper editor to create the team before I even start playing the game. There was obviously problems with this because I couldn't put my own logo into the game because I'd used Create a Club. That was a bit annoying, so I had to go with the original logo that I put in. Or I could create a completely new team altogether. Really doesn't matter. Well, it might matter to you. So let me know your thoughts on what I should do in the future. I don't want to do Regen Rovers straight away though. That's why I've decided FM18, my main save, isn't going to be another Regen Rovers type thing. That's something perhaps 2 years down the line. FM19 I would do. I just want to break from this whole thing. It was a big task. 140 episodes. For the first probably 70 of them, they were almost daily. Then it became every other day, and then eventually it was becoming once every 5 days, and slowing down. I suppose I was burning out, and sometimes you just need a break. I needed a break, and it did me a lot of good, and I'm feeling refreshed now, ready for FM18. Thank you for watching today's episode. It really was just to look to see how Regen Rovers would do in 10 years and reminisce about the old times. I don't know, is there anything else you want to look at? I feel like there could be. Oh wait, let's have a look at the records. I've forgotten about the records. How do we look at records for a club? In fact, here it is, records. Now, they never won anything. I have already had a look, but we never managed to win a cup competition apart from that EFL Cup, FA Cup runner-up, winner of the Championship in 2028 and winner of the EFL Cup in 2030. But there's been nothing since then. Won the English Under-18s Group 4 in 2036 and 37. But that's about it, really. But looking at the records, you can see Spencer Drury is still the all-time goal scorer in the league. Well, all-time goal scorer, league goal scorer. I think he's the all-time goal scorer for the club as well. It doesn't show that, unfortunately. But you can see Pigliacelli managed to get the most goals in one season. That was 2029-30 season. No one's beaten that. Sean Thomas has got the most appearances for the club. That's interesting. So that is one record that's been beaten since I left. Top league goal scorer still Pigliacelli in one season. The average rating has been beaten by this guy, Pascual Marone. He was world class. He's 32, so we had him 7 years ago. So £7.25 million, that is a hell of a lot of profit there. £47.5 million. He became a world-class player whilst at Regen Rovers, I would say, before moving to Bayern Munich. Really good stuff there. Cracking signing and good sell-on fee there. Oldest player was, in fact, Jack Young's record has been beaten. Richard Prajachka, 34. I suppose that was inevitable to be beaten because he was only 31, wasn't he? Most goals in a match is still Spencer Drew back in 2022 with 4 goals against Slough Town. Look how far we have come. 2022, we're playing Slough Town in the FA Trophy second round. That is brilliant. Most assists in one season has been beaten, and most clean sheets in one season has been beaten by our man Sean Thomas as well. But the youngest ever goal scorer is still Joe Gordon from the first ever season. In fact, was it the first ever match? No, second ever match, because you drew 0-0 in the first ever match. No one has ever scored a goal younger than Joe Gordon, who retired at the age of 21, remember. 5 goals in 64 games for the club. I actually quite liked him. I had a soft spot for him. He's still got that record. That is brilliant. Oldest goal scorer is Edison, this season, in fact. Brilliant. Most games won in a row was my last season at the club, 6. Most games without losing was back in 2021, 19 games. Most games lost in a row was that first season. We really struggled, didn't we? 6 games lost in a row in 2016. Most games without winning was that same season. And without scoring was actually back in 2037, interestingly. Highest transfer fee, Simon McKenzie, coming from Swansea to Regen Rovers. We managed to get the highest attendance. That was when we were playing, where was it? Crystal Palace, I think, because the stadium was being renovated. I think I'm correct in saying that. Can't quite remember off the top of my head. Now, this is... I don't know how many of you got to this point of the video, but I think the hardcore fans of Regen Rovers will have got to this point of the video, although there might be some of you that didn't want to see 10 years into the future. So I don't know how this will go down, but I've got a few copies of Football Manager 2018 to give away, and I thought I'd give one copy especially to the real hardcore bunch, the guys that supported Regen Rovers throughout thick and thin, and you have decided to watch this video and get to the end of the video. So lucky you, because I'm going to be giving a copy away to one of you guys that comments in the comment section below, and I'm going to give it away to the person with the best comment, essentially. But I want you to let me know what was your favourite ever moment with Regen Rovers. You could say it's the clip I said earlier, or it could be Jack Young scoring a winner in the last minute to get promoted, or it could be us finishing 4th in the Champions League. But perhaps go into a little bit of detail as to why that's your favourite moment. It could even be saying, oh, I loved the fact that you did a Paul's big day out in Bath, because that's where I'm from and I love Bath and it's wonderful. In fact, I went to Bath recently, by the way. Oh, love it. And that's my big day out today, Bath. Yeah, let me know what was your favourite moment of the series. Stick it in the comment section below. I will reply to the person that I think deserves the copy of FM18. I can probably message you on YouTube, but I don't know if you check. I'll get you the copy. I'll get you a code somehow. It'll be a Steam digital code. I'll contact you. You can then download the game. Happy days. So yes, I thought one of you deserve. Well, you hardcore bunch that have watched the whole series, one of you deserves a free copy of FM18. So there we go. Thanks for watching today's video. Please stick with me for FM18. There's lots of exciting content coming. Once again, I do apologise for the sudden end to the series. We did get to 140 episodes. I think that's pretty impressive. Maybe one day I will beat that record and go even further. Let's end the video by just saying, come on you younglings.